Hi guys, this is Sarah Winwet, or you can call me Winner, and today I will be presenting about iPad Learning Center. The learning objectives for today are to understand what learning centers are and how they work, identify concrete ways to use iPads at learning centers. The purpose of this chapter is to share concrete examples of how to incorporate iPad learning centers in the classroom, how teachers could set up centers and group students, utilizing iPad apps to design learning center activities for reading, writing, and math, include additional tools for the teachers who are interested in exploring alternative resources. Important key terms are differentiation and learning center. Differentiation means tailoring instruction to address students' individual needs, or basically separating students accordingly to their interests, their weakness, or their strengths. And learning center is a space set in the classroom that allows students to engage in independent and self-directed learning centers. Another word for learning centers are learning stations. Okay? There are 4 parts to this presentation. The first part is the background. We will talk about what learning centers are and their benefits. And part 2 is setting it up, how to organize and group students. Part 3 is the strategy, steps and directions to follow for utilizing iPads for learning centers. And the last part are the tools, the apps that are used on iPads. So the first one is the background. What are learning centers and what are the benefits? Learning centers are also called learning station. It's commonly used by early elementary teachers for young students to complete different tasks at the same time. It is suggested that the center should be between 3 to 5 students in each team. Example of learning centers could include reading centers, writing centers, math centers, computer centers, iPad centers, etc. You may find that a lot of teachers that teach younger students will use learning centers more, but you can also use this for older students as well. It depends on how you set it up and how it could be interesting for older students. Okay. Learning centers benefits. How does it benefit students, teachers, and the future? For students, it is a wide variety of activities to help students. For teachers, it's a way for you to meet smaller group of students without having to teach a big group of students without knowing their weaknesses and their strengths. When you separate the students into different groups, you have students that are fast learner, slow learners, so you can kind of manage it accordingly to their needs, right? And then it's great for classroom management. And also for the future, adding technology, physical movement, student collaboration is to advance to their growth and to their learning future. Okay, this is an example of learning center. Okay, so this is a learning center that is set up in a classroom. You can see that in the corner you have listening center, you have a bulletin board, pocket chart, blocks, math center. This is just an example of a classroom. You can also set it up however way you want it that's beneficial for your student. And remember, students progress through each stage by visiting different centers with tasks to help them move forward in the next process. So it's also better to set up your center that will advance to the next level, kind of like a game. Like you pass this level, then you go on to the next level, or you achieve something and then you go on to the next subject, something like that. So, the students can feel a sense of achievement and proudness into their progress. Part 2, setting up how to organize and group students. So, 3 important steps to organize your classroom space is to spread it out, limit the space, and be flexible. What does that mean? Spreading it out means make sure that students can interact in small groups without distraction. So you don't want your center all closed up together or next to each other. It's going to be confusing and distracting for the students. Limit the space. You don't want it all the way in the right hand corner and all the way to the left corner that they're so super far apart that students are going to wander around. Okay? And you want to try to be flexible, have different variety of setting, like maybe on the rug, on the floor, on a table, but make sure you don't change around the subject each day according to their space. For example, if your math subject is on the table, it should remain on the table for the rest of the month or the semester, so it doesn't confuse students. Okay? All right, now let's watch a video about how to organize the classroom, the flexibility of the classroom space, and empowering students with choice.
The transformation of space has completely elevated student engagement.
How do we provide the environments that kids need? Sometimes to be in their caves and be private, sometimes to be at the watering hole and working in small collaborative groups, and sometimes in cross-pollination where they're able to really share their work and work with each other.
My kids love to be under things, behind things, around things. We have 5-gallon buckets in my room that we sit on. We sit on crate seating that I made in my backyard out of a crate and some plywood and some foam. And I also just threw a lot of pillows on the floor. Offspring is like a baby squirrel. Is that something that might be important to your research? It might be important. From day one, I've said, you may sit anywhere you like as long as you're safe in our classroom.
That's working out really well. Keep on going.
We're really looking at how do we support kids working collaboratively. And we can't do it if we're isolated in rows and every kid's an island.
The first thing that has to happen is the teacher has to have a vision for their room and a willingness to say, I'm going to throw out some of this stuff. I don't need this traditional schooling equipment.
When you walk into a room that we have done, you'll see tables. You don't see individual student workspaces. In some classrooms, you'll see at least 3 kinds of seating. You'll see flexible bookshelves that are mobile that can be moved so that the room can be totally opened up, or little nooks and crannies can be created so that everybody can see everybody and we can participate as a community.
It helps plants grow. Good.
How can you do it on a dime? What we found is teachers are really hitting the streets the week that college kids leave town and seeing what they can buy for their classroom.
This is what I'd like you to accomplish today.
Beginning of the year is a good time to ask. If any of you have a couch or a chair that you have just sitting around, the kids would like to read on it, and it could be a reading corner. And that's how I started. And then it grew and grew because it was so successful.
You're good at finding facts, she's good at typing. I love it.
When the students walk in the room, I'll say, sit where you work the best.
When I get down into a couch and more comfortable, it's almost like it's a bit distracting. It's not exactly the environment I want to be working in, but for the other people, clearly they have their optimum working environments.
Miss Harris lets us choose, and also since she lets us choose, we ultimately choose what's best for us. We work better together and individually.
I've seen the kids not only be a lot more engaged, but they seem happier. They seem more likely to engage in conversation.
Because the space in this room has evolved throughout the year, the students' work has improved immensely. Their grades have improved. Just the conversations that they have with each other are so invigorating to hear.
All right, now after you watched the video, are you inspired to create a new classroom with Learning Center? Now maybe now you want to think about how to group students. First, you need to plan. Consider the number of students. And then 2, you need to differentiate. Consider who struggles or need extra time and separate those into the same group. 3, keep in mind, consider the students' relationship amongst each other. You don't want to get students that are always having problem with each other to be in the same group, or else they're going to be fighting all the time or something like that. 4, rotate. Lowest group should start with the teacher, so teachers have more time with the slower students, and also the faster learning students can start other activities, and then at the end they can come and see you and just talk to you just a little bit. Okay. 5, manage your time. Give more time to the weaker students and rotate accordingly, as I said before in number 4. And 6, label groups. Don't label the students according to their weaknesses. You don't want them to feel like they're an outcast or they're weak or something like that. But instead, use color codes, use animal names, use shapes or whatever. Okay? Each student is different, so try to mix it up. Maybe some students are good at math, but they're not good at English, but some students are good with English, but not really good with math. Or maybe there are some students that are good in both subjects or in every subject. Okay? Part 3, strategies, steps and directions to follow for utilizing iPads for learning centers. Okay, creating cueing cards. Okay, how to do that? Teachers can print out images of each app that would be used for each iPad Learning Center. So you can use the cueing card for each group. Like this group starts with this cue, like this card, this app, and then another group starts with another app. Or you can start at the same time, because you can use the iPad at the same time, and then just go into different stages. You change the app. It depends on how you manage it. Next, using iPad is more than a drill or a game. Keep that in mind. Some people think, okay, just throw an iPad to a kid and let them spend time on it and let them waste some time so you can just quickly finish the class. Actually, iPads are more than just games or YouTube. Okay? Many apps can allow students to create and share evidence of their learning. And also, with just a couple of apps, don't waste time teaching many different apps each day or every day, but use a couple of apps that are versatile and can change objectives each time. You don't want to teach so many apps to your students that confuse them. Try a couple or a few apps that are, versatile, that can be used for many subjects. Students work independently. Teachers can see and listen to students' understanding of a concept by using apps with recording features. So you're not, teaching everybody traditionally, and it's like the teacher center style, and you're just talking and lecturing. Students are able to go into their corner and learn on their own, and they can record their progress and send it to you through the app. And that way you can monitor them, so it feels like a one-on-one course. Part 4, the tools. Apps that are used on iPads today that we will be talking about in the chapter. There are 2 examples of these apps. First one is called Seesaw, and the second one is called Kidspiration Maps. Let's see what Seesaw is. So this is a website for Seesaw, and basically you can learn more about it. You can log in and sign up for free. Let's watch a short video about that.
I love when that light bulb, that aha moment happens. When they've been working really hard and all of a sudden that light bulb goes off and that click of, oh, I get it now.
I'm looking for new ways to engage my students every single day. Seesaw, hands down, is the best thing that has ever happened to any of my third grade classrooms. Whether it's math, writing, social studies, in art class, in music class, it works for everything. There's so many different ways that a student can create.
They can take pictures, they can do drawing, they can record, and then have to go a step further and explain their thinking in a way that really cements the learning.
Seesaw helps me because it gives me that immediate feedback of how the kids are doing. It helps me find those misconceptions in their lesson and then the following day to reteach those concepts that were missed.
The Seesaw Activity Library is a go-to almost every single day. I love that I can get so many different ideas for activities that I could use right there in one spot. Students love Seesaw. They get very proud of their portfolio and they like to share it with other people.
I saw that. I was at work at a meeting and my little notification popped up.
I use the Seesaw Family app both at home and at work. It really helps me give an insight of what Ava is doing, not only in class, but also the way that she's thinking and her process, and I think that's priceless.
I love how Seesaw really allows me to get to know my students on a deeper level. They don't always want to stand up or raise their hand to talk in class, but I feel like Seesaw really allows them to open up and shine.
So there are two examples of the apps, which was the Seesaw that you saw the video previously. And there's another app that's called Kidspirations Map, and you can search for these apps online and learn more about them. Okay, so these two apps, how are they used? How are they different? Okay, so Seesaw allows students to add items, as you saw in the video, to their online portfolios. Students can submit photos, audio, and writing. So it feels like a one-on-one time pre-recorded for the teachers and the parents. Teachers can see if students understand based on submission. And also parents can see their child's progress through the app live or virtually in the day, within the day. As you saw the parent that was, she saw one of her child's progress popped up while she was in the meeting. So it connects parents, students, parents, and teachers together, like a spider web. Next is Kidspiration Map. This is also similar to Seesaw, but it's focused more on images, okay? It's specialized in graphic organizer. There are a lot of pictures, so you basically use pictures that are provided to learn and to help you understand and to present, okay? Students can use these pictures to express their understanding of something. It can be used for many subjects as well, using the images to explain it. And it's easy to use and easy to understand. And it is recommended for younger students because, pictures are worth 1,000 words, right? So that's basically for kids, they don't know how to express themselves. They can use pictures to show their understanding. All right, let's see some of these examples. This is an example of one of the portfolio pictures is when a student did a writing or a sentence and they took a picture of their paper and they posted on their Seesaw portfolio. And also they actually recorded their speaking, their reading. Okay, so the students would take a picture of their writing and record themselves reading it. Okay, next one, math with Seesaw. Okay, so teachers can prepare like a clock for each student with a digital time on a piece of paper and let students manipulate and match the time to the piece of paper, so they can turn around or move around the long hand, the short hand, so that it matches with the time stripped. Okay. Now some examples of Kidspiration maps. So as you can see, it's more focused on images, so it's better for younger students. Students can create a page full of images relating to the letter A to understand the sound and the words. Example with math. So math with Kidspiration maps. The app is as good. There's a good selection of math, images, and symbols for students to use to present their ideas, their understanding of greater than and less than, as you can see there. Also for reading, okay, reading on Kidspiration. Student can also voice record a short summary of the story, including the main point, and also find images that is related to the short story, okay? I hope this presentation helped you and inspire you to try to create a learning center using iPads, using these apps, and maybe you can incorporate these apps into your classroom. And yours truly, I am Sarah Wynn Wedwoodendrag, and that's my cat. Thank you. And oh, by the way, these are additional resources. There are a website that you can use to help you set up Seesaw or get help with Seesaw, or you can search on Facebook to connect with other teachers. Just search Seesaw Teachers, and you can learn how other teachers are using the app or ask for other ideas. Thank you, and this presentation is credit to SlideGo. See you next time.